Hey guys, Fist2 here, and today we will be finally watching the highly anticipated second DLC video for Little Nightmares 2 by Gemini. If you do want to watch this video, I will leave Gemini's channel down below. Make sure to go show him some love because he's worked really hard on this. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright guys, so here it is. The Lost DLC Chapter 2, Little Nightmares Theory. So guys, as I said, make sure to go show him some love. He's worked very hard on this, and it would mean the world to me if you could go down to his channel. Obviously, as I said, I'll leave his channel link down in the description, and yeah. So, for the longest time, we have speculated on, dreamed of, and wished for a Little Nightmares 2 DLC. Unfortunately, it was not to be, but that's not to say it was never considered. In this series, I will explore some of the potential Little Nightmares 2 DLCs in meticulous detail. We will consider characters, enemies, environments, and even achievements that could potentially find a place in this mysterious cut/hidden content. Today, we take another deep dive into the hidden lore of the Little Nightmares universe and try to use the leftover links as evidence to piece together the DLC that never was. So take a seat and sit still as we cut into Chapter 2, A Close Shave. That's an amazing name. All feedback and comments are welcome, but just remember, bullying and discrimination will not be tolerated. Keep that in mind when you go watch the video. If you don't think it's good, then what's wrong with you? Because I'm sure this is going to be a banger. But just, you can leave feedback, as in, I didn't like this about it, but here's a way to improve it. But try not to bully. And offenders will be subjected to the wrath of our very own in-house monster, the moderator. So just remember, children, play nice. A huge thank you to... Yeah, okay. So these are all the channels that have helped him. So I'm excited to see what he said. Furthermore, special thank you to the legendary Little Nightmares content creator. It's just Jordan, inspiring my theories and by extension, the live video. So yes, guys. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. I'm not going to turn subtitles on.
More often than not, the world of Little Nightmares presents us with the endings to tales we were never told. Environments littered with the answers to questions that we're yet to ask. They encourage us to play detective and piece together the connections between the stories we know and the stories we don't. Previously, I placed myself into the admittedly oversized shoes of the game developers and attempted to draw links and parallels between the main games and other official works.
Yeah, so the last video was about a lunch lady.
Mysteries in the form of a speculative DLC. So
And the principal and the lollipop kid.
Little ones, as we continue to blur the lines between fact and fiction and refine our understanding of this ambiguous narrative. In Chapter 2,
I am excited for this.
A Close Shave.
The cuts are always... Oh my god! He looks so good!
But first,
sorry, the cuts.
Spoiler warning.
Like the, you know... Oh, yes.
For Little Nightmares 1, Little Nightmares 2, Very Little Nightmares, and the Little Nightmares 2 electronic comics. As with the last
So, what was I going to say? The cuts and the music is perfectly timed. It's so good.
Some entirely fabricated ideas, which I will of course do my best to tie together using the existing lore. Now with that being said, let's take a look at our next victim.
She's your victim. The Ghost Kid. I'm interested to see what he's going to do with this.
Also called Ghost Kid moving forward.
Because
firstly, let's address
there's not like a lot about the Ghost Kid.
Ghost Kid's connection with the Little Nightmares lore is quite certain. We find his photograph in the official games. They have an entire episode dedicated to them in the electronic.
Oh yeah, isn't the Ghost Kid set in the Pale City?
In the game files labeled Child 3. So we have our next DLC character. And like last time, we can use his only verified appearance to substantiate that his chapter will take place within the Pale City. But not where you might expect. No. We are going to open in a somewhat familiar part of the city, although it happens to be a street we have not visited before. Tucked into an alleyway and using a box for shelter, our character clambers out to reveal themselves looking different. Now I'm going to assume that there was a collective gasp among some of you at this revelation. Those who gasped likely recognize who this character is, and therefore have gathered some indication of where this story's going. For those of you that don't, hold on tight.
I always thought that
A
that
short
kid was the
walk down
runaway
the
kid.
street will have us surrounded by the familiar,
He just looks so...
canting tower blocks of the Pale City.
I don't know
Seemingly
what the word
abandoned
is.
shops adorning either side of the street, all of which are
Maybe he's a runaway
inaccessible.
kid.
But
Let's see where Gemini's taking this.
a store with their doors closed but the lights flickering inside, and a barber pole creaking ominously on the side of the building. We push open the door, causing the bell to jingle above our heads, and a distant sound of footsteps which follows, seeming to grow distant as the door closes automatically behind us. We gingerly enter the building through the main entrance to a small shop lined with exactly what you might expect. A row of barber chairs, mirrors, and shelves full of hair care products, as well as a disconcerting blood trail on the floor leading to a back room. Making our way across the cold floor, we notice that the back room is locked and that the key is suspended on a hook by the door, which will require us to climb up onto a chair, then the desk, then hop to the key, pulling it down, having just enough time to collect it before the bell chimes once more. Unfortunately for us, this is where the barber makes his return, having been alerted to our presence upon our entry to the store and being distracted from what we can only assume is disposing of his previous customer.
I'm sorry if I'm being really quiet, guys.
In disgust at our presence in the shop and grabbing his oversized shoes from the wall, he pulls them
what's
down
the word?
as we unlock the door to the back room and book it through his story.
I'm like deep into this.
No hiding spots. We are met with a dead end, the back door to the shop being closed and a small vent being the only point of escape, which we will have to pry open quickly as our fearsome new foe charges down the hallway, the blades of his scissors snapping menacingly as we manage to pull the vent from its hinges.
Well, the models look amazing.
Backwards with the momentum of the buckling vent grate and right between the blades of the barber's shears. A short cutscene takes place as we scramble for safety, losing an arm in the process. Letting out a blood-curdling scream as we desperately crawl for safety inside the vent, which leads us immediately into the street outside. Clutching at our severed arm and bleeding heavily, we stumble down the steps and lay behind a trash can as the barber throws open the back door, glancing around briefly before going back inside and slamming the door as we fade to black, resulting in our first achievement. The
A close shave.
as we fade in and out of consciousness, the sounds of small squeaking wheels and a soft voice full of concern. Then the hum of an elevator. We awaken on a blood-soaked bed inside the hospital.
The bloody nose girl!
Effectively, and accompanied by a girl sporting red hair in long pigtails and a white nightdress. Again, some of you may recognise this character and may also note that I neglected to mention something. But have patience, little ones. We're not done yet. After the short cutscene plays, she guides us carefully off the bed and unsteadily to our feet as the light bulb fizzles aggressively and then burns out, plunging us into darkness.
Oh.
We take control back of our character, walking into the next room and towards the glow of a flashlight, contained within a small red wagon that it appears our new friend has been using to gather supplies. We take the flashlight in our surviving hand and move slowly, clearly still shaken up and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
As we enter the next hallway, another short cutscene plays as our new friend hurries along ahead of us and takes a pillowcase from a linen trolley, cutting a few holes into it before carefully draping it over our
Oh, the main character must have
finally
trauma
completing our
from
look
Snips.
and resulting in our second achievement.
That's the
Using
spirit.
scissors where we find them as Mono and Six, we
How did he
continue
come up with
onward
this?
renewed confidence, heading towards the toy room, when suddenly the doctor
Oh,
pushes
God.
open this door and scrambles through.
So we're seeing the doctor as well.
We duck down behind an abandoned wheelchair and wait for the doctor to continue along his way, pausing silently as he clatters through the gate at the end of the hall, locking it behind him and thundering off. We can now enter the doorway which the doctor so kindly left open, as it leads into another hallway, but unfortunately there's a locked door behind it, the key to which, unfortunately, is not too far away and can be located in the playroom. Venturing
Oh.
here, we soon learn that our new friend has been documenting her experiences here as she immediately takes to the table, clambering into a chair and beginning to scribble away. Now about that key. As we pass through the X-ray room, we will notice that the X-ray of the teddy bear containing the key is missing, because at this point, I suppose the good doctor did not require such an elaborate hiding spot for his keys, and instead chooses to keep it hidden inside this drawer, which we find slightly ajar. Once opened, we grab the key and tuck it under our sheet, calling out to our distracted little friend, who reveals that while we were doing all the hard work, she was doodling a nice little picture of us.
Ah.
She pushes the cupboards closed with a loud clunk, seeming to break something internally as an unhealthy noise sounds from within, rendering them permanently locked before she climbs up onto the cabinet and sticks our picture up in pride of place. We then continue onwards, heading back through the X-ray room.
Look how spooky I am.
Unlocking the door with our new key and proceeding around a corner to a long hallway with doors aligning either side.
There we go.
An elevator at the end, which of course requires 2 power cells to operate.
Oh
Of all the
no.
doorways in this hall, 2 of them are accessible. The one on the left will require assistance to hop through the broken window panel, leaving us to navigate this area alone while our new companion awaits our return. We drop down into a dark ward room with several patients strategically placed throughout, all of them thankfully illuminated. However, in the middle of the room, the power cell is plugged into the wall, and by removing it, we effectively kill the power to this room, causing most of them to spring to life and attack. The ghost child tucks the flashlight under his arm and clutches the power cell to his chest, causing his movement to slow and adding to the already tense atmosphere as he slowly but surely navigates his way through the room, using the light to keep the malicious mannequins at bay, eventually escaping under a gap in the boarded up doorway, allowing him respite as he enters a well-lit observation room, the door to which leads back out into the hallway a little farther down. Having come full circle, we are greeted by our buddy and we pop the power cell into the slot, and with that we're 50% of the way through this puzzle, leaving only one place to go. The open door on the right side of the hallway. This leads us to a relatively small staff room.
I recognise that.
Comfortable chairs surrounding a television, the power cell sitting.
No way, I recognise that.
Not a patient in sight. Seems simple enough. Seeing as you got the last one, our friend decides it's only fair that she retrieve the second. She seems reluctant, observing the TV for a moment before venturing into the room. As soon as she reaches the power cell, the television springs to life. A fearsome eyeball glares at her from the screen, enshrouding her in pulsing static and causing her to hold her head, writhing in pain.
God.
With this, we spring into action. Our job will be to run around the back of the television and push it over.
Yeah, okay.
It to fall onto its face and shatter on the ground, spluttering and hissing aggressively as it dies off. This frees Ghost Kid up to check on his friend, who he helps to her feet, only
okay, she's okay.
Now seems to be bleeding quite severely, her brain having seemingly been fried by the TV beams.
Right, so that's why she got a bleeding. Right, okay, that makes sense.
And head back to the elevator, finally solving the puzzle and waiting for the lift to come back up. As the mechanism whirs to life and the sound of straining cables groans throughout the halls, we wait for the doors to open, only to be greeted by he must have been passing the lift on a lower level when he noticed it being called and decided to hop inside. He lets out a ghastly shriek and gives chase, our recently damaged companion stumbling in the hallway, snatched up by Dr. Badtouch and whisked away, back downstairs in the elevator, leaving us alone once more. Brave, we call the lift back and give chase, waiting for the loading.
Why would you do that?
Before the lift spits us out into a staff cafeteria. which is well lit and empty, other than some upturned trays with a spoon laying on the ground along with some other miscellaneous items. Exiting this room through another caged doorway, we find ourselves in a dark hallway lined with cells and glowing blue lights. Rounding the corner just in time to witness the doctor stuffing our friend into one of these cells.
Ah, okay, and then we chuck her the spoon, I'm guessing.
Into another elevator at the end of this gloomy looking area. At this point, we are able to walk down the hallway where just outside of her cell, we find another spoon from the cafeteria. Interacting with it, we'll see Ghost Kid slide the spoon underneath the bottom of the doorway, and then the sound of metal hitting.
Oh, it all comes together!
Remembering the other spoon from the cafeteria, we can now backtrack the way we came to retrieve another tool to aid Spoon Girl's escape. However, as we arrive back in the cafeteria, the lift doors will open.
Oh no!
To run away, dropping our flashlight as the doctor overturns the cafeteria table, enraged at our perseverance. We then run down the hallway with Dr. Bartouch in hot pursuit, his frantic progress limited by dislodging roof tiles and other obstructions. We manage to beat him to the elevator on the opposite side of the hallway, and
there you go.
Which proceeds upwards as the camera pans out.
Oh, if this actually happened, that would be so cool. They genuinely need to hire Gemini.
To a very official looking office adorned with photographs of groundbreaking moments in the world of medicine, at least as far as the Nowhere is concerned. Upon stepping out into this room, the elevator will shudder and clang loudly as the lights within it slowly die.
Oh no!
Having been disabled by our overweight stalker, leaving us with only one exit.
There you go.
Up onto the office chair, we can access the open window, which luckily has a washing line hanging between the hospital
and then this is
and the neighbouring tower block. We use to grab onto a coat hanger and essentially zip line our way.
See, what I like is he's putting it all together. So he's putting the start of the comic with the. Actually, I'll shut up. I'll shut up.
Find two viewers thoroughly engaged in the white noise of their television screen, the dishes in the sink piled up beside us. Now, of course, most of you know where the story goes from here, as this is right where the electronic comic picks up for our handicapped.
Yeah.
With their attention solely on the television, the ghost child drops down and crosses the room, aiming for the next window, hoping to make his way down. Hearing the sound of a struggling animal as he does so, as expected, we find an injured rat, clawing for life as it inches away from us. Taking pity on the poor rodent, much like Spoon Girl took pity on him, Ghost Kid scoops up the animal and makes his way to the window. Now with his hand full, he's unable to use the washing line connecting the buildings. Left to do nothing but watch as the animal succumbs to its wounds, passing away as he holds his arm and looks down into the abyss of the city below, only to have his short moment of grief interrupted by the sharp click of a television dying, turning around to meet his fate at the hands of the now uninhibited, causing the chapter to fade to black and give us one last achievement before the credits roll.
Enjoy the view.
And with that, little ones, we close out on the second chapter of our speculative DLC. Perhaps as a closing cutscene, we see the Doctor evacuating the bottom of the broken lift shaft and hearing the Spoon Girl clattering away at the tiles in her cell, noticing the spoons and putting together a little plan of his own. This one was a little longer than the last, as it required a lot more thought in order to link the
random YouTuber
as the official work that it's based on, that being the electronic comic.
I'm guessing the next one is going to be about Spoon Girl.
So
that's just a guess.
In a speculative DLC pitch, I made most of it up, but I did try to make this as interlinked and as plausible as possible.
That's the word, interlinked.
That there will be some plot holes and potentially some areas that I could have tightened up. And of course you have every right to bring those up in the comments section, but just remember, I tried my best. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you did, be sure to let me know by dropping a little thumbs up on there, and share some of your own ideas in the comments section. Thank you all so much for watching, and of course feel free to subscribe, because I feel like I'll be working on chapter 3 before long. But until then, that's game over. Bye.
That was incredible. Can I even bring up something? I genuinely think there's only one thing that I can bring up. And that, I think we should have more time in the barbershop, because I feel like the chapter should be mostly based on the barbershop, because I think most of the, see, starting here, so from here to here is barber, from all the way there then is basically the hospital. I think they could have been, you could have tried to do more on the with the barber shop, because I feel like that would be the main boss of the of the chapter, rather than the doctor taking the spotlight. Like, for instance, the granny, she was there for the whole thing. And then for the second chapter, the janitor was there for the whole thing. And the third chapter, the lady. So I feel like it could have taken more time in there. Oops. So yeah, I feel like there could have been more time in the barbershop and less time in the hospital. I don't know how he would have done it, but it was still incredible. I still really enjoyed this episode, and as I said, guys, I will leave the video link in the description if you want to go watch it for yourself, and obviously show him some love. As he said, he tried his best on this, and it's really good. So yeah, I also feel like he's listened to some criticism about too many bosses, because there were a lot of bosses in the last one. But this one, there were about 3 at most, which is good. So I'm glad that he listened to that. And I'm guessing that chapter 3 is going to be about the continuance with the spoon girl. Maybe? Because there's the ghost child, the bloody nose girl, and then there's the lollipop kid. Then there's the hunter looking kid, Mono and Six. So I'm guessing the next one is gonna be about either the bloody nose girl or the hunter boy. So guys, I'll leave it at that, and hopefully chapter 3 will come out soon. But that's it, guys. I will obviously leave this down. The video link down in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to go show Gemini some love. Thank you all. Bye bye.